can you explain the main difference between large language models and vision enhanced models in terms of their structure and capabilities?
Yeah, just to kick off, Rick, if people wonder about my accent, I'm from South Africa. So sometimes it's a strange one. Yeah, for me, I think everyone woke up with the idea of large language models and generative AI. It really shook up the market. And I always like to say with large language models, the input is unstructured, right? So the input is really natural language where you give a description or some kind of pattern to the large language model on how you want the model to behave. And then the output is also unstructured. And someone said, with traditional chatbots going to generative AI, we went from a problem of scarcity to a problem of abundance. And I think one of the problems is that with large language models, the input and the output is really unstructured and it's very conversational. So that makes it easy, and I think we'll get to it later in the session, but it makes it easy to use initially, but it's hard to implement in an enterprise environment. And so basically with large language models, it was bound to language. And I think something that people neglect, especially with large language models, is the idea that large language models were also symbolic reasoners. So you could describe a scene to the large language model like an essay, and you could ask questions about the physical environment you described. Count the amount of objects, how many tables are in this environment, etc., etc. And I really think the ability of large language models to be symbolic reasoners was really neglected, because I see that capability as the connection to visually enhanced the large language models. And maybe just to clarify the term, so people refer to language models with vision as foundational models or multimedia models. Some just use the word language models currently. But I really think that the big difference, obviously, is that these multimodal models or vision enhanced or foundation models, they've got the ability to take an image or a video as input and then almost treat that in terms of symbolic reasoning to interpret the images and to make sense of it and answer questions regarding it. And maybe just to end with this, is that quite a few of the agents are currently being developed by Apple and Microsoft and IBM that live within a digital environment have visual capabilities, and where it's got to kind of reason in terms of what the next step would be, in terms of what the visual input is. So the internal logic and reasoning capabilities of language models, that really comes to the fore when it comes to vision as well.
Excellent, thank you. Ratna, anything that you'd add into that?
Yeah, so vision is always the primary sense of our humans, right? So whenever we take AI, we always have to look at the five senses that all of us have. And the place where I came from, vision is treated as one of the primary senses that you use to actualize the situation that you're in. Probably words might deceive us, and vision never does. So, and it's vice versa as well. So vision always plays a significant role in making a decision. So because you always look at people's facial expression, whether they are happy, sad. Probably you might say the same word in different contexts, right? Without understanding the context. Without vision, you'll not be able to understand the context. So that's the primary driving factor of why vision enhanced AIs are always critical.
Excellent. Hunter, anything else?
Yeah, I agree with everything that was said. One area that excites me a bit in vision enhanced models is potentially unlocking new training data. So one of the greatest limitations of our current models is the fixed amount of training data that we have. We've trained it on every book that's ever been written, every comment that's ever been written, and we don't have a whole lot more stuff. But if we can start ingesting it through these models to create new training data, I think it really can unlock the future.
Excellent. Ratna, coming back to you, how do vision-enhanced AI agents improve decision-making processes in industries like healthcare, manufacturing, retail?
I think I have to add my own industry, detailing, refining, right?
Well, I put that on manufacturing, but it's more specific. That's very good. Refining.
Yeah, probably. Let me start with what I actually mentioned, right? So with vision solves a lot of things, right? So you can have 100 different sensors sending you information, but if you cannot really see what you're seeing with your eyes, or let's say put a camera in front of all the sensors, probably it can give you more clues about what you are looking at, and probably you can relate that to something like in my own space. If you take refining, one of the biggest things that we look at today is safety of our own people, right? Sure. When we are in the world of COVID, it's like you have to always wear your mask, or you have to put a PPE, or you have to always have right gear in, right? So if I have to look at everything, I have to put a person there to look at people or monitor people, and sometimes people will get offended about why are you guys monitoring, or why do you want to be a big brother for me, kind of a thing, right? So if I have a vision-based AI which can tell people or alert people that saying that, hey, you're not wearing a mask and you're coming into a protected space, or you're not putting a PPE and you're coming into a protected space, take that as an example and look at how vision can help you guys in understanding things. It can be refining space, retail, healthcare, or manufacturing. Putting a camera and then getting insights of that camera and understanding the scene, understanding the situation, how you are in, probably helps you better than listening to a bunch of signals coming from sensors. I'm not saying that vision is capable of doing everything, but adding vision on top of our existing sensors and the signals that are being sent to us is going to really help change the world in the way it opens a different dimension of how we look at or monitor our systems, right? Probably one good thing I've seen in the news these days is like doctors are able to scan and diagnose breast cancer even 10 years before the conventional techniques can detect it. That's where the vision is going towards. Same with manufacturing and retail, right? Let's say in retail space, if you guys have gone into the airport, nowadays a lot of airports are putting kiosks, which is mostly vision based, right? You put your merchandise there, it bills and it asks you to pay for it. You don't have to tell it or scan barcodes. Gone days where you have to scan barcodes and have to have a person sit there and do it for you, right? That's the scale of what we are looking at vision today. So it can be like your leaks can be detected early. You can do your preventive maintenance. You can automate tasks. Coming into one good thing I have seen is a lot of now the research is being done on robotic surgeries using vision, right? Yeah. Because even though you are using robots for doing surgery today, a doctor or a surgeon has to be next to it to make sure the robot is doing it right. So they are doing nowadays. Even they want to put vision AI and robotics combined, and they want to do neurosurgery. Think about the complexity of neurosurgery. The precision is very important there, and even 0.001% deviation from your path is going to paralyze the person, or you can take the life of a person. That's the scale of what we are talking about. When we put AI in place and robots and stuff in place, vision is going to play a great role in doing stuff for us.
So some good examples. Hunter, service industries, real estate, any other places that you've got some examples that you want to add in, people to think about?
So, I mean, the short answer is every industry. Like there isn't really an industry. I don't know, maybe Amish furniture making we don't have a great application for, but outside of Amish furniture making, every industry has the potential, the capability to be enhanced, to find that next level through this technology. I've spent a long time working in logistics, supply chain risk management, resiliency, where we built AI agents for like NASA and the Navy and Walt Disney, all to go out and find events that are happening around the world that might impact their companies and impact their supply chains and make a difference on their bottom line, and then suggesting to them what that impact could be and how they might remediate against it. And even that application, and so that's a few years ago that we built that stuff, but you can imagine that being enhanced by vision as we start getting insights into what's actually happening where they're producing everything that we couldn't have before.
Excellent. Cobus, any other novel things that you've run across so far that would help people just kind of think of the application possibilities?
Yeah, maybe just a quick example. Like I always, use this example, like, for any traditional conversational user interface or chatbot, if you ask a question like, what's the square root of the year of birth of the man that's commonly regarded as the father of the iPhone? That is something that a normal chat, that's a question a normal chatbot or conversational user interface won't be able to answer. And if you build a LangChain AI agent in one Python notebook and you use the mini model from GPT, the 4.0 mini from OpenAI, then the agent is able to decompose that question into different sections and really in a very inspectable and observable way, answer it, each of these proportions to decompose and then reach a final conclusion. And that's just text. And listening to the other speakers, I thought to myself, well, vision can be so, when Ratna spoke about complex environments of people wearing equipment, that's also ambiguous and complex. And for me, the big thing is the big power of AI agents, and especially with vision, is being able to take something that's complex and ambiguous and decompose it into a sequence of events. And then one of those tools it makes use of can be human in the loop. So, and also, like just a practical example, LangChain has got a very nice notebook where they show where the agent gets stuck and it actually reaches out to a human. So it sees a human as one of the tools in its collection to say, hey, help me out here, and then it continues again. So I think the power of decomposing complexity into a sequence of events and following that, just in terms of an audit trail as well, I think that's really powerful.
Excellent, thanks. Hunter, coming back to you, as we move towards more autonomous AI agents, how do you see their role evolving in industries? And you touched on a little bit, logistics, customer service, those kinds of things.
Yeah. As we advance increasingly towards these autonomous AI agents, I think that their role in all industries, but certainly inclusive of logistics and customer service, is it's set to transcend traditional operational boundaries. In logistics, these agents won't just optimize supply chains; they'll redefine them. You can imagine AI systems that can predict market shifts. They can autonomously negotiate contracts and orchestrate global logistics networks, all in real time. And with enhanced vision capabilities, the agents can also monitor the physical assets, whether it's via drones or IoT devices, enabling a level of situational awareness that's unattainable by humans alone. And this is happening today. People are doing this. In customer service, AI agents, I believe, will evolve from where they are today as kind of borderline scripted chatbots to empathetic collaborators. They'll they'll interpret not just the words customers use, but also their tone, their facial expressions, their body language, through the advanced vision and audio processing. And that this will enable a hyper personalized interaction that can adapt in real time to the customer's emotional state, hopefully creating experiences that are both efficient, because we don't want to waste people's time, and deeply human. I got in trouble recently for saying that humanity doesn't need humans, and humanity probably does need humans. But I do believe that we can craft human experiences with AI agents. If we try to look into the future a little bit, I foresee a convergence of AI agents just becoming integral extensions of human teams. They'll operate with a degree of autonomy that allows them to handle complex tasks, yet they'll remain aligned with organizational values and ethical standards. And it's this symbiosis that will blur the lines between human and machine, challenging us to rethink the nature of our work, of our businesses. But the key for me is collaboration. I'm not of the ilk that believes that the AI is going to replace us all. It's going to take over the world. I believe that the AI will amplify our capabilities, allowing us to tackle challenges that previously we thought were insurmountable.
Nice, I like it. So just kind of curious, Cobus, other experiences that you've had, or ideas or things that you've thought about or seen with customer service or logistics in particular?
Yeah, I like what Hunter said about being human that's enhanced by AI. And I'll give you a simple example. Like there's something like we've been working on, is for an agent, and it is something we've built and run. It's for an agent to be autonomous in a sense where it enables and supports the human. So I'll give you an example. So in terms of a personal assistant, someone types in, I want to take leave, I want to take paid time off. And then the AI agent just goes along and creates a to-do list. Well, you want to take time off, go book it in your calendar, go to the HR portal, get permission here, like a checklist of, I think there were like 7 or 8 items. And then the human can go and say, okay, execute this in a sequential fashion. That's just a very simple example of someone, taking paid time off at a company, and with the AI agent, there's a level of autonomy, but it's like Hunter said, it's a collaboration, and it just gives like a to-do list to the human, and the human can, tick it off in any sequence it wants to, for certain tasks. So obviously there's a greater scale of doing things at, or there's that personal, let's say co-pilot, which helps you to perform tasks quicker and not miss something.
Nice. Ratna, logistics or customer service for you all, or that you've seen anything for kind of the AI and generative with the visual kind of addition, anything you guys are thinking about doing?
Yeah, so few things, right? When we say about logistics, for us, it's about the transportation that we are doing. So a couple of things that were already discussed about autonomous systems that can either load your content or think about how Amazon is doing today, right? So Amazon has automated majority of their stuff, from starting from identifying what component has to be kept where, and then it has got its own robots going and picking that goods based on the order they have received, and then loading them to the truck exactly where it has to be loaded, right?
Okay.
So nowadays it's not about just transportation or customer service. If we have to combine everything together, see the bigger picture of how this whole thing is getting executed. So it can start with probably a simple process ordering system, and then give that to an AI agent for planning, and then take it from there till the customer support, where a customer calls in for support, and then answering the questions that the people have.
Very nice, thanks. So Cobus, why do you think the shift towards vision enhanced models is crucial for the future of AI development?
Yeah, something that really excites me is that, like any, like humans, right? We live within an environment. So there's a physical environment around us, but there's also like a virtual environment we interface to, like our PC or a laptop or our mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have agents, AI agents, or they also go by agentic applications or anything agentic. So I think for those, what's really important for me, for those agents to be efficient, they need to live within the user environment, right? So where a chatbot or a text-based agent is really a conversational interface, a vision-enhanced AI agent has got the capability to live within the user's digital environment. And that really empowers the AI agent to act on behalf of the user. So I'll give you an example. Like recently, Apple released research called Ferret UI. And it's a fascinating paper where they published their research on how they see a vision-enhanced AI agent will live on Apple's mobile device. And it's interesting how they, use an AI agent with vision to interpret the different screens and, create like a language connection between different screens to achieve certain tasks. So you can think of, obviously they're aiming at Siri, you giving an instruction to Siri, and Siri can go off and navigate the phone like you would navigate it. Another example, Microsoft just released a research, I think it's called OmniParser, where it's very much the same principle, where they see the AI agent with vision capabilities living within your Microsoft operating system. And very much the same idea where they take screenshots, they use OCR, recognizing characters, they have bounding boxes, defining different design or UX affordances to help that agent navigate within that. And I think my personal, if people want to look it up, my personal favorite is something called Web Voyager. And so there was a study called Web Voyager, and Langchain created implementation of that. And what's really great is that with this vision enhanced AI agent, you can ask it a question like, I want to travel between two cities, and it actually goes or opens a Chrome browser, starts searching, scrolling, interpreting the web page, and giving the user a response back, all in real time. So that's an excellent example of an AI agent living within the user's environment. So obviously, and I think, Hunter and Ratna alluded to that in terms of like physical, like sorting. And I think eventually we'll get there. We've got a physical entity, like a robot that can interact with the physical world. But where we are currently, I find it fascinating how these agents are being developed to interact with a virtual world, being, the web or a mobile operating system. And there's actually a whole host of studies on mobile operating systems, but obviously that will spill out into virtual worlds like gaming, etc. And then obviously there will be at one stage an embodied robot, not interacting with a virtual world or a digital world, but with a physical world. But maybe just to end with saying, like, to underscore this thing of, for the agent to be effective, it's got to live within the user's environment. and we communicate in an unstructured fashion with natural language, and in its point and click. And there's a large visual element in us navigating digital environments. And so I think the studies are showing that we're moving in that direction very strongly, and I think it's going to become more common for agents to have that capability.
Excellent, thank you. Ratna, anything that you'd add in there?
So I agree to majority of the content that Cobus has told us, right?
Yeah.
So the only thing that I would like to emphasize on this is adding the vision component to our AI model, right? So we started at a place where we always dealt with text and voice, right? So, and majority of the stuff we did is about translating the text into actionable content, right? So now with vision AI coming into picture, we are adding color to that, which means that you have more parameters that can be taken into account, either to automate it or to make better decisions or to do things faster.
Very good. Hunter, anything from your experience you'd add in, just kind of how vision enhanced is crucial to AI's development?
I think it makes the application of AI potentially far more general and less specific in a good way, in that by processing the raw imagery, I don't need to explain what's going on and figure out how to prompt it correctly and communicate it in the most effective way. I can just capture the image. And the application of the information from the image can be far more generalized because of that, because there isn't this translation layer. And that's definitely another area that excites me.
Yeah, no, I like that. Great point. Ratna, coming back to you, can you share some real-world applications where vision AI enhanced models are making a tangible impact?
Yeah, so there are a lot of examples that we can take from our own our own life, right? It can be starting from your iPhone or a Samsung phone, where Android phone, where now all these phones are embedded with some kind of other unlocking feature where you just put your face as the passcode, right? That's a simple use case of using vision AI, right? So, and you can go to a complex example of how satellite imagery is being analyzed by scientists. But if you want to look at what we see as a general audience in the world is few things, right? The simple things like you go to a store, you walk into a store, and you do a lot of purchase, and then you have a camera sitting on top of you, looking at or recording the video feed. What happens after that? Can we leverage that to do some kind of analytics? Yes, it can be done. One thing that I have seen is Microsoft came with a concept, or a majority of the cloud providers came with a concept called spatial analysis. They see few things that's happening in retail world today is how effectively am I using the space? Am I leaving anything that is not being effectively repurposed or repurposed? Right. Second thing is how can I make sure my customers are not going back without getting what they want from the store, and then probably looking at your inventory management. Let's say you have an aisle with a lot of goods there, and you're just saying, okay, based on my machine learning, it said, okay, a pack of cigarettes is going to be over by within an hour. You can have a camera sitting and monitoring that space and making sure whether the prediction that was done by my machine learning model is exactly same as what is happening within my store. You can always reconcile those things, and then you can put an analytics on top of that by sending an alert to my back office saying that, okay, we thought today we'll be selling 20 packs of cigarettes in aisle B, and it's almost over, and can you go and replenish that particular cigarette so that we have more demand of it. Think about something like that. Yeah. And one more thing that we are seeing a lot of things today is like Copilot vision or Android vision, where you can just show your phone cameras. You can show your cameras to something, and it will tell you what exactly it is. A lot of times, I personally use it because I go to my backyard. A lot of times, I don't know what I'm seeing there, so I just take a picture and then upload it to Google search or vision-based AI. Within seconds, it gives me an answer back saying that, okay, you're looking at XYZ stuff, and this is what it is, right? And one more good thing that's happening in education field. All of us are here because we learned something or other.
Sure.
One good use case I have seen, one of the very good friend I've shared with me on LinkedIn, is nowadays medical and when people are studying sciences, they are using virtual reality and mixed reality to show them how a heart functions, how the blood goes from one artery to the other artery, how does the heart beat, and you can also adjust the parameters to actually simulate a heart attack. And then you can train people on how you can make sure either you can train them on CPR or you can train them on how to do a heart surgery, XYZ kind of a stuff, right? So that's where the vision is going today. And also, as I told you in the previous example, a lot of researchers are happening to use vision AI combined with robotics and then do surgeries on humans. Right now, still it's in research phase, but look at the precision where vision is going towards, right? So we are going to you call it 5 nines or 6 nines precision. So that's where we are. That's where we are talking about. But with all these things happening, right? And then also one thing I do personally want to see is giving AI to our first responders. Right, we have been hearing in a lot of news today that there is a shooting happening somewhere or other, or there is some kind of crime happening, right? And one thing is we have a lot of cameras everywhere in the world. Why can't we connect all those things together along with the body cams that people are wearing, and then we can detect the crime even before it happens, right? These are the few things that I've been reading and seeing in the world. Probably these are only a few things that we have seen, but there are numerous things that can be done using vision enhanced models and vision AI.
Thank you. Hunter, you had mentioned a couple, but any other real world applications that you didn't get to share that come to mind that vision enhanced AI really is making a tangible impact?
Sure. I was speaking with a company maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. And they have a SaaS offering for lawyers or legal firms, and what they do is process all the discovery. So they're scanning all the documents in. Now, right now, they're primarily performing OCR, so converting everything to text and then building a retrieval augmented generation model on it. So you can effectively query all the data and find anything that might be interesting and cross-reference that with case law and legal codes, etc. But that area is also transforming as we're now seeing some retrieval augmented generation that's just based on the images. You don't need to go through the step of converting it into text, the OCR step. You can build representations of the images and query those directly in your database.
Right. Wow. Cool. Cobus, other things that you've been coming across that we have missed of just where vision enhanced AI is really making a tangible impact?
Maybe not a use case in specific, but maybe just in general. Like I like the way the phrases and definitions change. Actually, I did a blog recently on the shifting vocab of AI. So we started with AI agent, then it became agentic everything, agentic RAG. Then we had agentic applications, and then now we've got people talk about agentic exploration. But I think there's a big opportunity for agentic exploration where, and again, like this, I can name a few studies where there's some very good examples where an agent is given some parameters and it goes off and it explores an environment. Like, so it can be a website. It can be an operating system within a closed environment. And I see a lot of opportunity in terms of agentic exploration to understand, to know what you currently don't know. There's a lot of focus also lately on creating synthetic training data, using large language models to generate synthetic training data for small language models. And I love what Hunter said, right? At the kickoff when he spoke about the amount of training data that can be generated from images and visual and I think so. There's a big opportunity for agentic exploration, and then coupled to that and linked to what Hunter said previously at the top of the hour is the whole idea of having a data-centric productivity suite where you can annotate. So currently, there's a lot of annotation and data management tools for text-based data. But I think for having a data productivity tool for visual agents that can perform exploration can really be valuable. And I think that portion, the data portion, is definitely lagging currently in the market.
Yeah, thank you. Hunter, coming back to you, you had mentioned earlier, what are the potential security and ethical concerns around the deployment of vision-enhanced AI agents?
Yeah. So the deployment of vision-enhanced AI agents, right, it's going to bring all these transformative capabilities, but it also introduces really important security and ethical considerations that I believe we must address, and we should be in front of.
Mm-hmm.
On the security front, practical concern is the protection of sensitive visual data. These visual agents, they process and store vast amounts of imagery and video, which will include proprietary information or personal details, PII.
Yep.
So implementing robust cybersecurity measures is crucial to safeguard this data from unauthorized access or breaches. This involves not only advanced encryption or secure storage solutions, but also establishing really clear protocols for data management, data governance, and access control.
Yeah.
Now, ethically, privacy certainly stands out as a key concern. If we are going to network all the world's cameras together to build the great eye in the sky, but as AI agents become more adept at interpreting visual information, they again will inadvertently collect information or data that individuals do not intend to share. For example, in a retail environment where you have some AI system that is analyzing customer movements in order to, optimize store layouts.
Yeah.
But it's also going to capture personal interactions. And so it's essential to set clear guidelines on what data is collected and how it's used, and ensuring transparency with your customers and your stakeholders if you have any hope of maintaining trust.
Yes.
Another practical consideration is the autonomous decision-making of AI agents based on visual data. So in industries like logistics, an AI might reroute shipments or adjust resource allocations in real time, which could have unforeseen impacts on supply chains or on human roles within the team, and establishing accountability frameworks or oversight mechanisms, whether it's as simple as human in the loop or much more advanced than that. It's going to be vital to manage these complexities and ensure that the AI decisions align with your organizational goals and ethical standards. But I also believe that these challenges present an opportunity to set new benchmarks in responsible AI deployment. If we can proactively address the security and the ethical concerns, we can build greater confidence in these technologies, which means in your products, which means in your businesses. For instance, by integrating privacy considerations at the design phase of the AI systems, this can help lead to solutions that both enhance capabilities while respecting our privacy, which I personally would hope that we do. So in essence, deploying vision-enhanced AI agents should be approached not only as a technological advancement, but as a complete transformation that that thoughtfully considers security, ethics, and the operational impact of what you're doing. And by doing so, we can fully harness the potential of these systems while ensuring that they're implemented responsibly and hopefully effectively.
Right. I like it. So Cobus, this has to be near and dear to your heart as you're wandering around the countryside trying to help organizations roll out core. I imagine this is probably the biggest objection handling issue that you run into. Talk a little bit about maybe theoretically, but does core address some of this, or how do you get into the conversations inside a kind of CISO area?
Yeah, I just want to bounce off two things Hunter said into my response. I like what he said when he spoke about the it's got to be a transformation. Like there's got to be a wider strategy, and it's got to be part of a wider transformation exercise. And I also like when Hunter spoke about the problem, seeing the opportunities that stem from the problems. So maybe on a practical level, something one seen. I'm interested in autonomous vehicles, and because Elon Musk is from South Africa, I'm very keen in what he's busy with. And I think it might have been him that said it, that people are much more forgiving when a human makes a mistake as opposed to a machine making a mistake. So I think if something goes wrong and a machine, if some kind of machine was involved, then the ramifications will be bad. A live agent makes a mistake, we forgive him. A chatbot makes a mistake, and it becomes a meme. I think that's the challenge. But I think that there are a few things. Maybe just a practical. The Stanford came out with this framework, DSPY. I think they just recently released the study on assertions, and I like this. Not to get into the technical detail, but it's basically asserting norms and standards on the language model and on the AI agent. So I like this whole thing of assertions, and it can be like soft assertion or hard assertion. At core, we focus on scanners. So basically, we've got a whole array of input and output scanners which can be configured. And I think one of the biggest challenges is that once you use a commercial language model or foundational model, for any any implementation, then you're really at the behest of that commercial model. And so we've got scanners up front where we block information we don't want to be going to that model. And obviously you've got to vet you've got to have different scanners. Guardrails is the common used term, but we use scanners internally to vet the output from the large language model. And then you have things like, and there's been studies about, OpenAI, the thing of LLM drift or language model drift, where the model changes under the hood. So they've tried to address that with fingerprint serial numbers for the models and with seeding. And there's also something called catastrophic forgetting, where models, they forget knowledge, so that also impacts negatively on the user experience. So something we've found is that we've got a platform, and we try and encourage users, enterprises and large companies to really deploy their own private instance of their language model or the foundational model. and when they're highly capable small language models and open source models. And it really takes away a high level of complexity if you're not at the behest of some kind of commercial offering. There's a time and a place for it. Obviously, there are different use cases, but if you think of an enterprise implementation, and you've got all these security and protection of private identifiable information, then you make it a whole lot easier for yourself if you have like a private instance of a model that's frozen, so there's no model drift or forgetting. And if it's within a private cloud, for instance, then you don't have to have all those input scanners necessarily to the model. So I think there's a big part of cutting away the complexity and simplifying your architecture. And if you can self-host and have your own instances, I think there's a great case to be made for that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Ratna, you're living it. So in a highly regulated industry with a fair amount of risk. How are you guys thinking and managing currently, security and ethical considerations? And it sounds like you're already doing or about to do some vision enhanced AI. How have you guys kind of tackled it as an organization, as an enterprise?
So, first thing I would say is enhanced vision AI is no different from humans, right?
Yep.
Because we are trying to replicate what humans are doing, or we are trying to replicate the behavior of human, right? Anything legally that a human is responsible for doing when making a decision based upon what they are seeing should be applied to the same machine that you're working with, right? That means that you have to still comply with your PCIs, PIIs, HIPAAs, and any legal regulation that we have today. Having said that, when somebody is implementing, I cannot give everything that we are doing today, but one thing that we do is we bring our systems into the same scope of any software or any legal complications that might happen with using these kind of autonomous systems. So that's one thing. Once you bring that, we bring the factor of accountability into picture, wherein we don't think, okay, I found a shiny tool in the market, I want to just bring it and implement it here, right? It's not that. Any software or anything that you're bringing in has to be evaluated from both ethical and other factors. Again, responsible AI is a word that all of us are using, and we should make sure we comply to every foundational pillar of responsible AI. It can be your privacy and security, it can be your transparency, your society, so everything, right? So when coming to that, one thing we need to make sure is whenever we are implementing any kind of vision-based or other tools, we have to make sure the person who is in our premise not post clear citation saying that, okay, we do that with our surveillance cameras, right? We say you're being recorded. Make sure we tell people that you're being recorded, which means that we are going to do analytics based on that. Mm-hmm. And also one more thing we need to make sure is the privacy of people. When you're recording their voice as well. It's not just about your vision or your cameras. It's recording just your faces and behavior. You're recording your voice. You got to make sure you're not taking the other piece of it and doing unethical analysis on it, right? Mm-hmm. Whenever we are recording or when you're using an asset, please make sure the asset is used properly and not in an unethical behavior. So always responsible AI, legal clauses, and probably at some point of time in the future, we might have to treat all these models as an extension of an employee for my organization, because they have intelligence in place and they are doing automation stuff. So they are not, probably they should be evaluated more than an employee is evaluated in the company. And also one more thing that we need to look at is today we don't have a hard and fast rule saying that okay, this is the checklist of things that I will be evaluating an AI tool or vision based tool, right? Probably it's we need to form a group. We can call it as ethical behavioral group or something, and we need to draft the guidelines on how all AI models has to be treated. And if an undesirable outcome comes in, we need to know how those things are evaluated and mitigated. So, that's one of the area that I think we still need to do a lot of work. And probably I have seen a post from White House last year that they initiated something like that, and I still have to look it up to see where they are. But it's a good direction that we are marching towards.
Yeah, very good. Well, amazingly, we're already at the top of the hour. We had a bunch more questions to go through. I've been reading the questions that have come through. I think we've mostly gotten to them. There's one that came up that I'm not sure if one of you could kind of help shed some light on, but one person was asking, when you add vision capabilities to a large language model, what kind of fine-tuning needs do you consider or are needed for the implementation? Any thoughts there that we can help people with?
Traditionally, you would collect a bunch of annotated examples and fine-tune with them. You can get a lot from just a few examples, from 50 examples. I mean, it depends upon the actual the use case and how generalized it needs to be.
Sure.
It's not that much different than fine-tuning a large language model based off of, hey, here's the prompt I'm going to give you, and here's the output that I want you to reproduce. At least in my experience. Cobus, you have something?
Yeah, I was scared to answer, and then what you said really resonates with my thoughts. Yeah, that's something I really found interesting, is that with fine tuning, I must say I don't have a whole heap of experience in fine tuning with images, but fine tuning for text, you can really, as Hunter said, like I think the minimum amount with OpenAI now is 10 examples. So with 10 examples, you can fine tune a model. I guess like 50 would be a better spread at least, but you can fine tune a model and really feed that model, as Hunter said, to give you the desired, feedback. The only drawback is to some extent you invest in a commercial model, so that would be great if you've got your own model you're fine tuning. But then OpenAI, for instance, makes it so easy to fine tune. So I think it's becoming increasingly easier to feed the model with specific responses in a specific area, and it's not that expensive. Within a few hours, tens of minutes, the fine tuning can be done. So I really see the fine tuning of models improving, and just the performance as well. The performance of the GPT-4o mini model in terms of visual capability is also astounding. So it might be a bit of headway or a bit of work you can get through before you get to the stage where you would want to fine tune.
Excellent. Ratna, anything else that you throw in there with fine tuning?
Yeah, my thing is probably this is my take of seeing it as how autonomous you want to go with these models, right? So that drives your fine tuning of your model. Do you want to be completely autonomous, like self-learning, or do you want to be in a controlled environment where I know what is going to happen in that situation? So based on that, we need to tune our models to adapt to that situation where I'm going to deploy it.
Very good. Well, thank you all in the audience for joining us today as we explored kind of the fascinating transition from large language models over to enhanced AI agents with vision. Special thanks to all the panelists for sharing your experience with everybody. We had a whole lot more to talk about, so definitely share with us if you're interested in hearing more. It's a huge topic. Scratch the surface of. So From a Pronix point of view, thank you very much. We're excited to continue the journey, helping businesses harness the power of AI and automation to drive innovation and success. So if you're ready to explore how AI can elevate your business, feel free to contact us. Together, we hope to shape the future of intelligent automation. Thank you all, and we look forward to seeing you at our next event.